Hi, my name's Ryan and welcome to the channel. So, for those of you who aren't aware, one of the biggest recent developments in the aviation industry came from a startup company called Lilium with the Lilium Jet, a personal aircraft capable of covering a little under 50 miles in 15 minutes, with a vertical takeoff and top speed of 186 miles per hour. Because of this, it's been a major talking point seeing how far a company like this can come in 2 years, and makes you wonder whether flying cars will become a reality. But with a lot of inaccurate knowledge out there, I thought I'd make a video outlining the current state of what we'd call flying cars and where I think it could end up going. Now, there'll be links in the description where you can learn more about each of these, but with any new industry, the current state of tech seems to vary company to company, ranging from concept videos with Airbus to working prototypes and approval for test flights on the public in Dubai. A lot of this video is going to be down to opinion, and I'll be interested in what you think in the description, but from what I've seen, the most promising companies seem to be the startups utilising the recent surge in software and battery development. Currently, they seem to be Lilium, eHang and Mobile. Now, there are some honourable mentions going to companies like PAL-V, Terrafugia and some concepts from Airbus and Audi, but from my research, these are the main companies that seem to be showing functioning prototypes with, in my opinion, some real signs of momentum. Now, each have their own respected advantages, but summarised briefly, the Lilium comes ahead with its incredible range, battery technology and vertical takeoff, making it flexible with landing areas and functionality. eHang with its current place in the drone market and approval for testing in Dubai, and Mobile for its futuristic design and familiar car features. Despite the cars being very primitive, it's encouraging to see people interested in these ideas, despite the backlash drones have had over the last few years. So, more on the actual vehicles later, but let's jump ahead a bit and see how it might actually work. Let's say I want to do my daily commute. Do I fly directly to work? That's to say I go from A to B in the most direct route possible. Or will I have to fly into a lane like something you see in Futurama? Well, probably neither. See, you won't need a flying car license because chances are it'll all be automated. If you think drivers in your area are bad, imagine adding another plane of access for them to crash along. Instead, I could see an Uber-like service emerge, where you simply type in your destination on something like your phone, and the car knows to take the most direct route whilst automatically switching lanes and altitudes. It could be that there'll be some main roads or just straights for organisational purposes, but these could possibly be designated for different altitudes depending on the area you live in and where you're planning on going. For example, in cities there'd need to be a shift in the average vehicle height in order to compensate for the change in building height. This only complicates aviation laws, but is something that could be refined over slow introduction in more developed countries. More roads could be converted to open greenlands and the environment could really benefit. I could also see certain altitudes being designated for different speeds too, similar to your left and right hand lanes on the motorway, but with cars at higher altitudes flying faster and slowing down as you get closer to the ground. These higher altitudes will impose different car designs though, depending on how high you go, like pressurised interiors and thicker fuselages. I get the feeling roads we consider to have high speed limits would occupy high altitudes, which would make travelling long distances like cities to cities quicker, much like main roads. But how would this work at borders? I mean, these cars are essentially personalised aircraft and aren't going to be confined by roads. This is where I think flying cars are going to be the biggest problem and leads us nicely onto laws. It's important to know that these changes aren't going to be coming anytime soon. We'll most likely have to wait for a reform of the transportation industry by self-driving cars before people will start to take the idea of flying cars in society seriously. But whilst we wait for these changes, we can speculate on how the industry will work and some possible ideas. Firstly, we're going to need a renew of aviation laws. Currently, the subject of drones is a bit of a hot topic in the UK, and it's illegal to set up a business using aviation-based products without authority from the CAA. But as more companies like Amazon request these approvals, we could see changes like possible commercial drone zones and designated flying routes. Because in the future, flying from A to B might not be as simple as it currently is. And this actually brings up a good point. Introducing flying cars isn't the same as introducing other forms of transport when it comes to crossing borders. If you don't want people driving their cars or taking trains into your country, you don't build tracks or roads connecting them. But when the Lilium Jet has a speed about a third that of the average aircraft and a range of 300 kilometres, it doesn't just become one country's problem. I'm sure there'll be some people that can get around the software safeguards, and when powering your car becomes cheaper than fueling an aircraft per passenger, this could become a real immigration issue. So a lot of what I've talked about to this point has been a mixture of my opinion with some research, but to end the video, here's a few thoughts on what I think could play out for the future. In the same way Google bought out ZetaWire to make Google Wallet and Nest Labs for their home products, I could see Alphabet or a similar company putting a lot of money into something like eHang to really make this idea become a reality. I don't think the cars will be optimised for land travel either. Like a plane wouldn't be appropriate for your commute to work. The cars will probably be okay for taxiing and not loads more. I think land travel at this point could be just seen as a cheap alternative, especially with things like buses and public transport. Because a lot of this technology will be hitting in about 10 years' time, developments in solar energy could have advanced rapidly, and the tops of these aircraft could be covered in solar panels and could be charged by something like a Tesla home battery pack. And as for the borders problem I mentioned earlier, it could be this kind of industry might not adjust well to the political tensions rising between countries. I imagine America would be a prime candidate for testing the integration of this industry with society because of its similar aviation laws between states and large oceanic distance between other major countries. But I also think other countries like China and India could be a potential thriving market. Anyway, that was a quick video just to sum up my ideas on flying cars and where I think it could end up going. That was the first video to go on this channel. If you liked it, subscribe and stick around.